Hey, what's up, Keto Challengers? Happy Friday and happy day 5 of our 10-day Keto Challenge. Today, we're talking about fats and why it's important, not only from a ketogenic perspective, but why it's important in general. Okay, so at this point, you already know that the ketogenic diet is an ultra low carb, moderate protein, and high healthy fat diet. In terms of your macronutrients, those are the major nutrients that we consume. There are 3. There's proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And in fact, your body doesn't actually consider carbohydrates as an essential macronutrient. Your body can create the amount of glucose and carbs it needs through a process called gluconeogenesis that happens in the liver, and it converts it from protein. So depending on the expert that you talk to, there are many doctors and many scientists out there that don't even consider carbohydrates as an essential macronutrient. So cool. So let's talk about specifically about fats and cholesterol and what that does on the ketogenic diet. So we talked yesterday about lowering our carbohydrate threshold to 20 net grams per day. And if you're following the meal plan that I specifically gave you for this challenge, you are already well on your way to hitting those 20 net grams of carbohydrates a day and lower, depending on your level and depending on the food or meal plan that I gave you. So you should be well on your way to priming your body to achieve fat adaptation and ketosis. So keep going. Your macronutrient ratio should be about 5% carbohydrates, and that typically comes from our leafy greens, our vegetables, our cauliflowers, okay? That is where our carbohydrates come from. Because again, if you remember, fiber does not count towards our carbohydrate intake, our net carbs intake, because we subtract that from our net carbs. So our main sources on a ketogenic diet or any low carb diet for carbohydrates is our vegetables and our fruits. So any of your berries, your strawberries, your raspberries, okay, there's about 1 net gram of carb in a strawberry. So eat those. You can't eat a whole basket of them, so eat them sparingly. But there are carbs in there, natural sugars, and that's really where that 5 to 10% of our daily intake comes from. Our protein makes up about 20 to 25% of our daily consumption. And again, focus on fattier cuts of meat, some chicken thighs, some fattier fish like salmon or tuna, or some mackerel. Those are really great. Sardines are wonderful. And then the remaining amount comes from healthy fats. So that's animal fats, that's saturated fats. Okay, I know if you've heard anything about fats have been vilified for quite a number of years. I grew up thinking that saturated fats, that butter, is actually the wrong thing to eat, where in fact, what we're now learning is that it is the rise in consumption of polyunsaturated fats. Those are the chemically manufactured and industrialized seed oils. Those polyunsaturated fats, or PUFAs, are actually what's causing inflammation in our body and contributing to that chronic inflammation that is happening with a lot of Western diets, because it is so cheap to manufacture these vegetable oils. And I'm talking about corn oil, canola oil, peanut oil, grapeseed oil, rapeseed oil. Those are chemically processed and highly industrialized oils, because in order to extract the oil from it, it has to be processed. Chemicals have to be added to them, and so their molecular structures, from a biology and a chemistry perspective, are very sensitive to oxidation, are very sensitive to breaking with the presence of heat and with the presence of oxygen. And because their molecular structures are so prone to breaking, when we ingest food that has palm oil or canola oil in them. And if you look at a lot of the processed foods in the supermarket, guess what's in them? A lot of these polyunsaturated fats. Our polyunsaturated fats have raised our omega-6s, which are our unhealthy fats in our bodies, to a ratio where it's causing chronic inflammation in our body. So we want to do the best that we can to avoid those types of fats and really switch our attention to the saturated fats, because they're less likely to oxidize in our body, they're less likely to go rancid in our body, and they are able to perform the functions that we need. So Dr. Catherine Shanahan wrote a book called Deep Nutrition. I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys read that. She talks about our lipid cycle in our body, and in a properly metabolically well body, the lipid cycle, the consumption of fats, is perfectly normal. So let's break this down a little bit. First, let's understand what fats are. Okay, so fatty acids, fatty acid chains, there are many different types. There's saturated fats and unsaturated fats. And then unsaturated fats are then broken down into monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, and trans fats. The PUFAs and the trans fats are the ones that have very weak chemical bonds that can get broken and cause a free radical cascade in our bodies. Those are the ones that you want to avoid. The saturated fats, those are our butter, our ghee, our lard, our tallow. Those are the fats that come from animal fats typically. They are less likely to go rancid, and we need fats in our body. Cholesterol is important in our diet because there are many vitamins and minerals that rely on fats, that are fat soluble and rely on fats in order to be transported throughout our body through our lipid cycle. Our brains are about 70% cholesterol and fat, and every cell in our body has a cell membrane that is made up of cholesterol. We need to have the right types of fats in our diet in order for us to function well. Our hormones, our sex hormones, okay, the precursor to every sex hormone is cholesterol and fat. If we're not getting the right amount of fat, if you are on the typical Western diet of lowering your fats, and you get 2% milk, if you have non-fat yogurt, if you have non-fat this, guess what happens when those fats are chemically and industrially removed, okay, from milk solids? Guess what happens? Sugar and carbohydrates are actually added to those, because when you take fat away, it tastes like crap, okay? Fats are what satiate you. They keep you full. So you want to make sure that you are getting the right fats in your diet, not only to support ketosis, but because I just told you a whole plethora, our sex hormones, our digestion, our bile is made up of cholesterol and fats. So our digestion is critical to getting the right types of fats in our system, not the ones that go rancid and oxidize, but the ones that are stable enough to perform the job that we need them to do. They transport essential vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin K are all fat soluble, and our entire body needs that. Fats and cholesterol also, when they are on our skin and we go outside in the sun, they turn into vitamin D. So vitamin D's precursor is cholesterol and fats. Everything that we can think of, fats has a key role in that. So getting the right fats is essential to any health and wellness. If you are coming from a low-fat diet, I know it seems a little bit distraught to have to add butter to everything, but I am telling you, you are going to be well off, because the fats are what keep you full. So if you're finding that you are hungry throughout the day, if you are finding that in between your drinks or in between your meals you are famished, add more fats. Fats on the keto diet are what we call our lever. You dial them up or you dial it back depending on how much you need, depending on how much satiation you need. So if you are like, no, actually I'm kind of full, I'm full all the time, I can barely eat my meals, dial back the fat, okay? Dial back the fat, because what happens then when you aren't consuming fat, when you have no dietary fat for your body to then break down into energy, guess what it goes to break down? Your body fat gets then broken down for energy. So this is what we want to happen on the ketogenic diet. This is what eventually happens on the ketogenic diet. Remember, again, yesterday I said that weight loss is a byproduct of the ketogenic diet. First and foremost, ketones are going to work to correct any metabolic dysfunction, any chronic issues, reduce the inflammation. And with that reduction of inflammation, coupled with lowering our carbohydrate intake so we're not inputting any more inflammation, then your body is healing. Weight loss happens as a side effect. Yours can happen immediately. Yours can happen in a month down the road. It really depends on the situation that you have and your metabolic state, okay? So that's a little bit about fat. There's so much more information to uncouple about fat. I'm happy to have a fat conversation with anybody that wants some, but that should give you a little bit of idea about why fat is so critical on the ketogenic diet. We need it because we're using it to power our cells, and we need it for the building blocks and the basic metabolic functions of our body, okay? Hit me up if you have any questions. I hope you guys have a really great Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back over the weekend. We're gonna start talking about our 60-hour reboot, which starts on Sunday, and I can't wait to get started with all of you. All right, happy Friday, happy day 5. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.